between should not have that much water in it. That's why it's leaking. Horizons aren't meant to hold water. It shouldn't even have water even below there. See how it's still filling? Yep. It's not shutting off. It just keeps filling.
Hear that? That's the sound of money. You wanna know what sound of money is? That's it. Ching, 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 ching. Ching, 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 ching.
We're gonna see how this does. These little washers here are horizons. In this laundromat, we got 10 of them. We got one whole bank of them here. 5 on one side, 5 on the other. A couple of them, that one and that one, have fill air issues. This one has a drain that's loose, so I got to tighten that up. And that one on the end has a fill air issue down there by the chair. So people don't think I'm weird doing this. You guys don't think I'm weird, do you? Anyway, what's happening is, in the video I show the washer just keeps filling with water. It keeps filling and keeps filling. Well, what the problem is this little guy here. This little guy right here, this is called a fill valve. See, the water goes in these, hot and cold, and it comes out here. What happens is these little things get particles in them. And the solenoid in here closes and opens when this is given electrical signal. So it's like a magnet. It sucks this magnet up and it opens up the valve so the water can go from here into the machine. What happens is it gets dirt from the water, sediment over time. The rubber stoppers in here that actually shut the valve off, they actually wear out. They're a non-replaceable part. I could replace the solenoids on them, but I can't replace the internals. They glue them shut. These big ones behind me, you can fix those. These are non-replaceable, or these are non-fixable. You can't repair this part. They do that on some of the machines, and I don't know. They just don't want you fixing every little thing. I guess they want you to spend 20, 30 bucks for this opposed to 10, 20 cents. So we gotta open this up, take this sticker off. If I can do this. Up inside here there's two 5/16 screws you have to take out. And that allows you to open up the lid. Now the part I gotta fix is down in there. That's that valve. Right there. So you gotta unhook the wire harnesses. So I gotta undo some bolts up here to take this pan out of my way. And then I gotta unhook the water connections back there. We gotta unhook those. So let's tear apart a horizon. Now this is a job that anybody that owns a laundromat is gonna have to do. These only last, even if you don't get any dirt in them, it seems like they only last about 7 years, 8 years, and they go bad. So I'm pretty used to this problem occurring. These horizons can typically go 7 years without any problems, and then they're going to start having issues. Now the bigger machines, they're better built. They can last before they have a major, and this horizon, this isn't a major issue. If you had soft water, these rubber things wouldn't deteriorate so bad, but because our water's so hard, that's why they're breaking. So if I would soften the water, I could get these machines to go probably 10, 15 years before we had an issue. Now, a lot of laundromats, I don't know if other laundromats do it. I bought one that did soften their water, and that was fine. But what happens is too much soap. And so back to that video where I'm talking about people using too much soap. People use all that soap, and what happens when you soften your water is you suds it. So then you got soap running out of the machine down the side of it, and you have a bigger mess. So that's why I tend not to soften my water. Some people got upset at the first laundromat when I stopped softening water. But once they kind of realized what was going on, it was okay. You see me put these nuts back on these screws. I just don't want to have to pull these screws out and lose them. It's kind of a habit from working on engines. I'll put stuff back where it goes so I don't have to remember where the heck it came from. Alright, so I'll show you this. So now this piece here basically can flop down and just kind of slide out of the way. And we're going to undo that little guy back in there, which is hard to see. Now it gets to be the fun part. Slide all the covers off. We shut some water off. Figure out what hose goes where, because that's usually a disaster. Alright, that's one. Alright, now we can unhook them. Just take some channel locks and we start loosening them. We have to take this apart so we can get that water valve out, because it's tied in there pretty good. Get the cold hot water. Hot's on bottom. Then what we got to do now is we got to take out, there's two 5/16 screws, one here on the side of it. Okay, and one on the top. There's two others over there. They hold the plate to the water valve. You don't have to remove those till you pull it out. I've gotten smart. I don't loosen them all the way. I loosen them until I can pull them out with my fingers so I don't drop everything. Now this valve's kind of an odd shape, so you have to like maneuver it out. So basically we just go in reverse order now. First I hook up the connections. And then what we do is, after we get those hooked up, try not to lose everything. Put the hose back on that actually supplies the water into the washer. That's kind of a pain. Okay, got that. Now I just need to put the screws back in the top plate. The reason I want to leave them out is this machine shakes a lot inside that you don't realize, and I don't know if you saw the video before a while back I put up, but it can shake the wires to the point they rub and then they ground themselves out. They can catch fire and burn up your machine. It may not be a laundromat fire where it burns the building down, but it'll definitely ruin your machine. So you want to make sure that every little strap and clamp is tight, just like it was from the factory. Working on these, you don't want to have parts left over. You don't want to have any screws left over. It is not going to work out for you. Grounding wires are also very important, because otherwise the machine, if it's not grounded, one, it won't work, and two, it could shock somebody, you know, and it'll find a ground eventually if it's got a bad connection in here, and you don't want it to be your customer. So you really want to make sure you got that back together. And they're not that hard to put back on. They're just wires with those wire nuts I showed you earlier. But it's just something you don't want to skip. And you don't want them to be loose. All that's back on. I'm going to show you one other part to this washer. I had the question a couple times about vending these machines and being networked. These machines are networked, and I'm going to show you the gizmo that does it. It's wireless. It's that little thing right there. See, it has an antenna, and this actually talks to the computer in the back room, and all these Horizons are networked. Now that's the thing that's neat about Horizons. Now I told you these are soft mount machines, and they don't like anything past 10 years. I'd say they'll last 10 years without being complete junk. But one thing they do have is their network from the factory. So as opposed to those stainless steel ones over there, which you got to pay a lot more money to get that machine with a network capability, this one is ready to go. So if you want to be able to free vend from a beach in Florida, these are your machines. And a lot of owners love them for that, because they'll have a lot of weird error codes, like an EDL or like the fill error issue. And if somebody was using that machine and had an issue, they can call me and I can vend this machine for them for free, and they can move their stuff over. Now the only thing they're going to be out is they're going to be out their soap, they're going to be out, you know, their time. But as far as being able to use a washer, you got them back in business. So even though I don't like these Horizons as much because they're not as durable for the type of customers I have, they do have that feature that you can free vend, that these I'd have to pay a lot more money to get that feature, and these just come with it. So now we got to turn the water back on and shut the door. So let's do that. See if we're ready to vend. Push the start, take the sticker out of order off. I always put it in normal, and I always put it on warm, because that way I know it's using both valves. So we hit start. And you can see the water coming in from the top, and you can hear it going through the tray up there. Now this machine won't fill up to the glass like the big kids do. This machine won't fill up to the glass. It'll actually be down in that tub a little bit. And the first telltale sign, if this thing starts filling up in here, this door seal is not meant to hold back water. Now the big ones, they are meant to hold back water. They usually do fill up within about a quarter of the glass. So if you see one of these filling up with that much water, you're in trouble already. So let's have a see here and see what this does. You can see the soap, because obviously we got people that use way too much soap. See, that's about right, so it's getting close to shutting off here. See, there you go, look at that, it's right at the level of that fin in there. that is what we wanted. This thing's working. Now I will sit here, I won't sit here, but I'll go over and work on a couple other machines while this is running to make sure it gets completely through the cycle, because I've done the mistake before where I think I have it repaired and then about a minute after I leave, the thing's running water out, or it errors right at the end with another issue. So food for thought. If you're going to work on machines, plan on being there the whole time they run the cycle once you repair one, because it'll happen to you. It's happened to me numerous times. I learned it the hard way. I don't do that anymore. Or I would fix them and then just leave them. I wouldn't even free vend them and run them. Run them. You want to make sure they work. That's advice I got for anybody wanting to run a laundromat or runs a laundromat. Run them. And this little repair here, that part would have been about 50 bucks from the dealer. For him to drive from where he comes to where I'm at would have been another 30, 40 bucks. And then 30 bucks going back, so that would have been 60. So we would have had $110 right there wrapped up. And they would have charged me at least another 200 bucks. So this is a $300 repair that I just did for $24. So you may think I'm silly for repairing this stuff, but that just saved me a bunch of money. Now I can put that in my business somewhere else or put it in my pocket. So alright, well I ain't gonna sit here with the camera and watch that. You guys will be bored. I chuck these. I used to try to save. These you can't fix. You can't even replace. They're garbage.